Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Final Destination Bloodlines. But before we get into that, remind you guys to please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on all my socials, Instagram, Twitter, do all that stuff. All those links will be in the description below. And with that being said, let's get into the video. So this is actually really my first Final Destination movie that I've actually sat down and watched. I've seen reviews for the other films, I know the memes and everything, and the infamous the log truck scene and all that stuff, but I've never actually sat down and watched a Final Destination movie. This is technically my first one, and really, I guess this is one of those movies that it's almost like a prequel in a way. It feels like it's setting all of this stuff in motion in a way. You have these different characters, this group of characters that this situation happens, and they basically kicks off the events of the movie. And you could say it actually kicks off the events of the franchise in a weird way. It takes place, actually not quite sure where it takes place, can't remember. But it takes place in this like tower space needle thing, and this, these things start happening, little things here and there, all this stuff gets set into motion, you have a Final Destination way, and then a bunch of everybody dies, and then that's how we start off our movie, like this pretty high body count, and then we get our main lead, our main actress, who is a college student. She starts having these weird premonitions of like the opening scene that we see. She starts having a vision of that like in her nightmares, and it's affected her schoolwork and everything. So she goes home and starts asking questions, and she finds her grandmother, who they think is dead, but really she's still alive. And she goes and sees her, and her grandmother kind of explains to her what's going on, and thus creating this chain of events that starts with her grandmother, and then it slowly takes out the rest of her bloodline, which is the reason why it's called Final Destination Bloodlines. I gotta commend this movie because you really don't need to watch all of the other Final Destination movies. If you watch like the first one and the last one before this is kind of in a way prequel to the events of the first movie. So in a way, this is like a prequel to that one. I'm pretty sure that's how it's explained for the movie, unless I'm totally misinterpreting that. But even if I am, I think it's pretty effective, and you don't have to watch the rest of the franchise to watch this one. I thought the movie was actually fairly decent. I wasn't really sure what I was getting into. It had a lot of positive things about it. A lot of people were saying that it's the best of the franchise, that it's refreshing and it's better than the last one, which I heard that was true, or the last one or the one before that one. Either way, that it was one of the better ones in the franchise. So I kind of went into that with that mindset that I figured I would mostly like this one. In most movies, I really don't go into watch bad movies. I try not to pick bad movies to talk about on this channel, and so I went into with that mindset, and I actually had a lot of fun with it. I'm watching it at home, so I was able to talk to my TV and give my opinions on clearly of characters who can't hear what I'm saying, but I was yelling at my TV with some of these characters, some of the stuff that they do in this movie. In the opening scene in particular, there's like this little kid, and he has these pennies, he's throwing pennies off the top of the building, and it kind of sets some of these events into motion, what all this chain of events, all these things start happening, and things start breaking, and glass starts shattering, and it's this little fucking kid, and he something happens. So I'm not gonna spoil it. He dies. I mean, that's not a spoiler, but he gets his end at the beginning of the movie, and I yelled that. I was like, yes, yes. It was fucking well deserved. But if you haven't seen the movie, I won't spoil what happens to him. Other than he dies in a very gruesome way. But our main cast of characters, our main cast isn't that bad. We have this, our main actress. She's kind of our main lead. She's fairly decent. Young female actress. I'm not quite remember what her name is. But she does a good job leading the cast. She's kind of like trying to figure everything out, and everybody's believing her. She's kind of our plot explainer. Starts explaining all this stuff, and so they have to listen to her, and all these things start happening, and they don't believe her at first, typical, and then once it starts to become clear that hey, this is what's going on, then everything starts to fall in line. Plenty of gruesome kills, plenty of bloody stuff. I was watching it when I was watching it. I didn't watch it, and it's like I watched a different version of it, so the quality didn't look as good. So I'd like it. I would like to watch it when it actually watch it in like good quality. But everything looked a little digital. That's really my only complaint is that we get a lot of these cool kills, but it looks very digital, and it sucks that that's just the case because maybe they were on budget constraints or something like that. But I don't know. There was a lot of cool practical stuff in here too. And as many cases for a lot of these movies, there's a lot of practical stuff that they do have on set, but then they just touch over with CGI, and even in that way, it looks worse. But I think it could have been just the quality I was watching it on. It didn't look as good. But yeah, really, that's really my only complaint about this movie. I think the ending, I cracked up at the ending of the movie. It's one of those movies I'm not really going to go too much into detail because I think it's just better off you watch it. I believe this is one of Tony Todd's last movies before he passed away. I think he passed away last year with cancer and everything. He looked very sick in this movie, and he has a nice little send off. So this is one of those. I don't know if it's technically his last movie. He could have other ones down the pipeline that haven't released yet. So, but I think this is one of the last ones he filmed before he died. And it's a good send off for his character and his involvement in this franchise. So that was a nice little addition. Like I said, good kills. The chemistry, everybody was great. I think there was some fun stuff. I mean, I haven't seen the other Final Destination movies. I know that they kind of coincide with each other. Like they have something to do with each other every one that goes on. But I don't think you really need to watch them in order or any particular way to get the movie. I think each one of them kind of stand on their own, if I'm correct. And this one, I think if you haven't seen any of the other ones, I think this one would be fine just to watch in and of itself because it was actually fairly decent. So I really like this one. So I give it about a 4 out of 5. I think it's good because, like I said, it's very gruesome and some of the kills. The opening scene is pretty well done, and the ending was fucking hilarious. So I liked it. What do you guys think? If you've seen it, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. And yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.